Americans love beer. We love beer so much we drink nearly 56 billion pints of it a year. But that love comes with a price. Each pint we hoist requires as much as 5 pints of water to produce. In a state like California, where water is in short supply, that math could become a massive problem for brewers. Unless you're this guy.
The craft brewing industry in California is very big and growing. It has been growing at over 10% a year for over a decade, and there are dozens of craft breweries opening up every month in California. For every pint of beer that you drink, 4 or 5 pints of water are used in its production. There's obviously the water that's in the pint of beer you drink itself, but water is used in its production and cleaning the equipment, in the entire process of growing it. So beer is an extraordinarily water-intensive product. So we're the only brewery that is actually making a beer out of recycled water.
That may not sound like much, but every day Californians flush 1.3 billion gallons of water down the drain. That wastewater usually runs through sewers and ultimately out into the Pacific Ocean. But it doesn't have to. It can be reclaimed, cleaned, and used again. For Half Moon Bay, every ounce of recycled water it uses is 1 ounce of fresh water it doesn't need to pull from California's already depleted supply.
We think it is a chance to help redefine the value of water in beer. We think it's a chance to help people understand the importance of water, and we think it's a chance to change the entire mindset about recycled water is not something you should be scared of. It should be something that you think is interesting and different.
Since recycled water isn't readily available in California, Half Moon Bay had to go to an unusual source to test their idea. So you are using, in this particular experiment, recycled water for your beer. Where have you been getting the recycled water from?
Well, we've sourced it from NASA.
And so what were they using the recycled water for?
Well, they use it for, obviously, the space shuttle, the astronauts, as far as I know, watering plants around the facility, all that kind of stuff.
Once you've gotten the water to a profile that you would like, do you work with it the same way you would work with tap water?
Yeah, it is very much like the standard water that we use here in the brewery. So generally the pHs are the same. Once it's been filtered and everything, we do add a little bit of brewing salts back to it to enhance its flavor a little bit.
Would you be adding brewing salts to tap water when you're working with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's the same.
It's the same thing.
For Lenny's bet on recycled water to work, the beer made from it can't be almost as good. It has to be as good or better than the original. So I sat down with Dan Littlefield, master brewer and nearby competitor to Half Moon Bay, to conduct a proper taste test.
Cheers.
Now, how would you describe this as a master brewer?
Well, I mean, first off, this is a really well-balanced, malty and very hoppy beer. I mean,
Sure.
I'm getting a lot of flavor.
Yeah. Let's try this one. Cheers.
Right off the get-go, I'm not getting a huge difference here. I'm actually,
Right.
I'm pretty impressed by just how good both of them are.
Mr. Nate, will you reveal the truth that we need to know here?
The IPA that was brewed with recycled gray water
Yes.
are the ones on the outside.
Bang!
That's the one I had my hand on. Do you see that?
That's the one I drank more of.
Do it.
Yeah, no, it's delicious. Currently, Half Moon Bay can't sell the beer it's making from recycled wastewater, but Lenny thinks it's just a matter of time before it can.
So I think it's going to be at least a year or two before the regulation and all of this is legal to do for consumer consumption. But I would imagine in 5-10 years from now, the US water system, especially in places like California where we have scarcity and drought pretty frequently, it will be part of the regular system.
What Half Moon Bay is doing may seem radical when dealing with something as traditional as beer, but conditions in California are calling for bold new ideas. And since beer made from recycled water can taste just as good or better than traditional sources, it seems like a no-brainer. After all, if you could enjoy a crisp, refreshing pint of beer while also contributing to water conservation and helping preserve the environment, why wouldn't you?